Don't waste your time. Your life. Have you ever asked yourself why your life still hasn't changed? Why you still aren't successful? Why you still haven't reached the things you've been dreaming about for years? It's not because you're not smart. It's not because you don't have opportunities. It's because you are wasting your own time. Every day, every hour, every minute. You spend hours scrolling through Facebook, TikTok, watching things that do nothing for your future. And at the end of the day, you look back and ask, what did I accomplish today? The truth is, almost nothing. You say you don't have time, but every day you throw away hours on meaningless distractions. You say you have no motivation, but how can you when you never start? You say you can't focus, but you've trained your brain to be addicted to instant pleasure, addicted to the easy way, addicted to avoiding the things that truly matter. And while you are wasting your time, your parents are getting older, slower, weaker, little by little. They're waiting for you to succeed, waiting for you to grow, waiting for you to become the person you promised you would be. But their time is not as long as you think. They cannot wait forever. And if you keep living like this, with no goals, no discipline, no change, years from now you will look back and realize you have lost your youth, your chances, your entire future, all because of meaningless hours spent scrolling through a screen. The most painful part is that you know this. You know you're hurting your own life, and yet you still don't stop. That is the real pain. And if you don't wake up right now, this very moment, you will continue living a life you aren't proud of. This is not just a reminder. This is a warning. This is an alarm. Your time is slipping away. Your life is slipping away. Don't waste another second. Lesson 1. Time is life. Most people think time is something abstract, a clock ticking, a day passing, a year added to their age. But the harsh truth is this: time is your life. Every minute that passes is not just time disappearing. It is a piece of you that is gone forever. Time doesn't return, can't be bought, can't be saved for later. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose things and replace them. But if you lose a year, a month, even an hour, it will never come back. That's why successful people have one thing in common. They respect time more than any other asset. Look at Bill Gates. Despite having billions of dollars, he still uses strict time blocking, scheduling every minute of his day for meaningful work. Because he knows 1 hour of his life is worth more than any amount of money. Meanwhile, those who fail share another trait. They treat time like it's infinite. They spend it as if they will live forever. They wake up without a plan. They waste 3 hours on their phone and still say, "I don't have time to learn." They repeat yesterday's mistakes and wonder why their life never changes. The truth is simple. Your current life is the result of how you used your time in the past, and your future will depend entirely on how you use your time starting today. Many people realize this too late. Steve Jobs, before he died, said a sentence that made the whole world stop. Your time is limited. Don't waste it living someone else's life. Only when facing death did he feel clearly that each second passing is a piece of life that will never return. Don't wait until a tragedy forces you to open your eyes. Don't wait until you see your parents growing older to realize how poorly you've used your time. Don't wait until failure hits you to suddenly wish you had started earlier. Most people make the same fatal mistake. They think, I'll do it later. I'll start next week. Just one more video. And each later, each not now, each tomorrow quietly steals months and years of their life. The solution is simple but life-changing. Master your time, or your time will master you. Use the 10-minute rule. If you don't feel like doing something, just do it for 10 minutes. Your brain will naturally want to continue. Cut 50% of your wasted time immediately. Reducing social media from 3 hours to 1 hour gives you 2 extra hours of life every single day. Ask yourself one question every night. Was today worth 24 hours of my life? And always remember, you don't control how long you live, but you control how you use every minute you have. If you want to change your life, start by changing the way you see time. Because in the end, your life is simply the sum of how you spend your time, and nothing shapes your future more than the way you choose to use the minutes you are given. Lesson 2. Use your time wisely. Use your time wisely means treating every minute as an investment with potential return. It's the difference between living reactively, drifting from distraction to distraction, and living intentionally, where each block of time is chosen because it moves you toward a goal. Too many people confuse being busy with being productive. Scrolling through feeds, answering shallow notifications, hopping between tasks without a plan feels like action but rarely creates value. The analysis is simple. Time is finite and non-renewable, so poor allocation yields compounded opportunity loss. If you spend 3 hours a day on low-value activities, that's 1,095 hours a year. Time you could have used to learn a skill, build a side project, strengthen relationships, or rest effectively. Successful people treat time like capital. They prioritize high-impact activities and protect those windows fiercely. For instance, many leaders use time blocking, reserving chunks of the day for focused work, meetings, learning, and deep rest. So context switching is minimized and mental energy conserved. Others follow strict prioritization, determining the 20% of actions that create 80% of results and then ruthlessly executing on them. Conversely, common mistakes include failing to plan, overcommitting, underestimating task duration, and saying yes too often. These behaviors create a calendar full of friction, meetings that bleed into productive time, fragmented attention, and a creeping backlog of important work. The psychological cost is real. Constant shallow busyness erodes confidence and creates the illusion of achievement without substance. So what are practical solutions you can implement today? First, start with an audit. Track where your time really goes for 7 days. Use a simple spreadsheet or a time tracking app and be brutally honest. That visibility alone will reveal small leaks you can fix. Second, adopt time blocking. Assign each hour of your day a purpose. Focus work, learning, admin, family, exercise, and honor those blocks as non-negotiable. Third, prioritize with the decision rule. Each morning pick 1 to 3 MITs, most important tasks, that you will finish before anything else. These are the tasks that move you forward. Fourth, use the Pomodoro technique or 90-minute deep work sessions to protect concentration and include short breaks to recharge. Fifth, learn to say no and batch similar tasks to reduce switching costs. Email, messages, and social feeds should have scheduled check times, not constant access. Sixth, automate and delegate. Whatever can be outsourced or simplified should be, because your time is best spent where it produces the highest return. Finally, build rituals that prime focus, morning routines, pre-work rituals, and environment design. Phone in another room, notifications off, reduce friction and increase the chance you'll do meaningful work. Think of the people who built something lasting. They didn't wait for motivation. They designed systems to use their time wisely. Equally, think of those who looked back with regret. Often they didn't lack talent. They lacked habit and structure. Time invested wisely compounds. Small daily choices, protecting 2 hours of deep work, saying no to one meeting, swapping an hour of scrolling for reading, stack into momentum. If you want different results, start treating each minute as a deliberate choice. Lesson 3. You always have time. The belief that I don't have time is one of the most destructive lies people tell themselves, because it removes responsibility and makes inaction feel justified. The truth is painful but liberating. You always have time for the things you prioritize. When people say they have no time, what they really mean is that their time is being consumed by low-value habits, distractions, and decisions made without intention. Everyone, from billionaires to busy parents working 2 jobs, has the same 24 hours. The difference lies in how they choose to allocate them. Consider Elon Musk when he was building SpaceX and Tesla at the same time. He used 5-minute scheduling blocks, proving that even in overwhelming chaos, time can be carved out when priorities are clear. Or take J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter while raising a child alone and working multiple jobs. She didn't have extra time. She created time by removing everything non-essential. On the other hand, look at the millions who say they want to learn a language, start a business, get fit, or improve themselves, but never begin. Their days vanish into scrolling, mindless entertainment, and constant distraction. They insist they're too busy, yet spend hours doing things that don't matter. The real issue isn't lack of time, it's lack of clarity and discipline. When the mind is scattered, time becomes fragmented. Even a free hour can feel unusable because attention is weak and habits are misaligned. But when you take ownership of your choices, I don't have time transforms into, I haven't made this a priority yet. And that shift is powerful. The problem is systemic. People underestimate how much time they waste on autopilot, opening social apps without thinking, repeating routines that bring no value, overcommitting to tasks that don't matter. They also overestimate how much time meaningful improvement requires. They think learning needs hours, when 10 minutes a day compounds massively over weeks and months. To reclaim your time, start with radical awareness. Track your day for 48 hours. You'll see how many minutes you leak to unconscious behaviors. Then apply the substitution rule. Replace the first 10 minutes of scrolling with reading or learning. Over time, increase it to 20, then 30. Small shifts reshape entire days. Another key solution is implementing micro windows, tiny pockets of time that most people waste, like waiting in line, commuting, or sitting between tasks. These can be used for vocabulary practice, listening to meaningful content, or reviewing notes. This is how busy professionals become multilingual and how parents with full schedules still grow every day. Next, remove the illusion of multitasking. When your brain switches tasks constantly, it creates time loss that feels invisible but adds up to hours. Focus on one task, finish it, move on. Simplify your environment too. Notifications off, distracting apps on the second page of your phone, workspace clean. The fewer temptations you see, the more time you naturally reclaim. Finally, build a non-negotiable learning minimum. Even on your worst days, you commit to 5 or 10 minutes. That tiny promise is what separates growth from stagnation. Because once you show up consistently, time expands for you. The truth is simple. You don't need more hours. You need better priorities. And once you understand that you always have time, you stop waiting for the perfect moment and start using the moments you already have. Lesson 4. Stop waiting. The habit of waiting is one of the most silent killers of potential. People tell themselves they're waiting for the right time, the perfect moment, or the ideal conditions. But the truth is simpler and more painful. They're waiting because they're scared. Fear of failure, of judgment, of imperfection is the invisible chain that holds millions of people in place while their dreams slowly die in front of them. Waiting feels safe, but it is the most dangerous decision of all, because time keeps moving even when you don't. Think of those who say, "I'll start when I have more time," "I'll begin when I feel ready," or "I'll try when everything is perfect." These are not reasons. They are excuses wrapped in fear. No one ever feels completely ready. No moment is ever perfect. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to begin. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Look at people who changed the world. Steve Jobs didn't wait for permission to start Apple. He built it in a garage with limited resources and countless uncertainties. Oprah didn't wait for someone to validate her worth. She pushed through poverty, rejection, and prejudice. They moved forward despite fear, not because fear was absent. Conversely, think of the countless dreamers, people with talent, intelligence, passion, who kept saying, "Tomorrow." Tomorrow became next week, next month, next year, and eventually became never. Regret is full of people who waited too long. The analysis is clear. Waiting feels harmless but compounds into irreversible loss. Every day you hesitate, your skills rust, your dreams fade, your motivation weakens, and your self-belief erodes. Your brain learns inaction, and over time, not doing becomes your identity. You stop trying not because you can't, but because you've trained yourself to avoid effort. The good news is waiting is a habit you can break. The first solution is to shift your mindset from perfection to progress. Don't aim for the perfect start, aim for a start. One sentence, one exercise, 1 minute. These tiny beginnings override fear. Use the 72-hour rule. If you have an idea or a goal, take action within 72 hours before motivation dies. Another tool is Exposure therapy to fear. If speaking English scares you, speak one sentence today. If starting a business frightens you, write the first idea. If improving your health feels overwhelming, walk for 5 minutes. When your brain sees that fear didn't kill you, it loosens its grip. Surround yourself with people who act, not talk. Environment is contagious. If your friends are procrastinators, their habits become your ceiling. Replace waiting with accountability. Tell someone your goal and your deadline. The pressure helps break inertia. Most importantly, redefine fear. Fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal that something matters. If it scares you, it's likely exactly what you need to do. The truth is brutal but empowering. Your life is decided by the moments you stop waiting and start moving. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for clarity. Don't wait for confidence. Action creates all of them. The clock is ticking, with or without you. Stop waiting. Your future is waiting for you. Lesson 5. Take the first step. The first step is always the hardest, not because the action itself is difficult, but because it requires breaking through fear, doubt, and inertia. Many people live stuck at the starting line, not because they lack ability, but because they convince themselves they need motivation, clarity, or confidence before they begin. But this belief is a trap. You don't start because you're motivated. You become motivated because you start. The brain is designed to resist new habits and protect comfort. So the moment you think about changing your life, learning English, starting a business, fixing your health, it immediately throws excuses at you. Not now. I'm tired. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know where to begin. This is why the first step matters more than any other. It breaks the psychological wall your mind builds to keep you comfortable and small. Think about people who achieved extraordinary things. When Colonel Sanders built KFC, he was 65, broke, and rejected more than 1,000 times. His first step wasn't powerful. He simply knocked on a door and offered his recipe. But that single action started a global brand. Or consider Malala Yousafzai, who took her first step toward global education reform by writing a small anonymous blog at age 11. It wasn't grand, but it was enough to spark a movement. Every major transformation begins with something small, almost invisible. The tragedy is that most people wait for the perfect moment, but perfection is an illusion. There is no perfect plan, no perfect day, no perfect version of yourself waiting in the future. Life rewards those who begin, not those who hesitate. And the more you delay, the heavier the first step becomes. When you don't start, fear grows. When you don't start, doubt multiplies. When you don't start, your dream slowly dies from neglect. Taking the first step doesn't require brilliance. It requires willingness. And once you move, momentum begins to work for you instead of against you. The science behind this is clear. When you start a task, your brain releases dopamine, reinforcing the behavior and making you want to continue. This is why a 2-minute start can lead to a 2-hour deep work session. The solution is simple yet powerful. Use the 2-minute rule. If a task feels overwhelming, do it for just 2 minutes. Speak one sentence in English. Read one paragraph. Write one idea. The goal is not completion. The goal is activation. Next, break big goals into micro steps. Instead of learn English, make it listen for 3 minutes. Instead of get fit, make it walk to the end of the street. Micro steps remove the fear barrier. Another solution is to make your first step obvious and unavoidable. Keep your book on your pillow, your workout clothes beside your bed, your English notes on your desk. Design your environment so action becomes the default. And most importantly, reward yourself for simply starting. Not for perfection, not for finishing, but for showing up. Because once you begin, you're already ahead of those still waiting, still planning, still afraid. The truth is simple. The first step doesn't need to be big, only real. Once you take it, everything else becomes possible. Lesson 6. Small wins matter. People often believe that success comes from huge breakthroughs, massive decisions, or life-changing moments. They imagine a dramatic transformation, the day everything suddenly becomes different. But real life doesn't work that way. Success is not built from big victories. It is built from small wins repeated consistently. Small wins look insignificant on the surface. Learning one new word, reading one page, walking for 5 minutes, saving a small amount of money, waking up 10 minutes earlier. These moments are so small that most people ignore them. But what they don't understand is that small wins compound, stacking up day after day until the results become unstoppable. This is how habits form, how confidence grows, and how entire lives transform. Consider James Clear, author of Atomic Habits. His entire philosophy revolves around the idea that improving 1% each day leads to massive change over time. A tiny improvement compounded daily equals a completely different person within a year. Or take the story of Kobe Bryant. When asked why he was so great, he didn't talk about talent. He talked about doing the basics every single day, shooting the same simple drills, practicing footwork thousands of times. Each tiny improvement made his foundation unbreakable. Small wins are the seed of big victories. The opposite is also true. Small losses build failure. 5 minutes of procrastination becomes 10, then 20, then 2 hours. One skipped day becomes a week, then a month. Just like success, failure is a slow accumulation of small, repeated actions. Why do small wins matter so much? Because they shape your identity. Each time you complete a small action, your brain receives evidence that you are improving. You start seeing yourself as someone who learns, someone who grows, someone who tries. This identity shift is what creates long-term change. The problem is that most people reject small wins because they don't feel dramatic enough. They want overnight transformation, not daily discipline. They want results without repetition. They want the final chapter without writing the first sentence. But waiting for motivation or a perfect moment keeps them stuck in the same place. The solution is to embrace small wins intentionally. Start your day with an action so tiny you cannot fail. Learn one new English word. Listen to a 1-minute audio. Read a short paragraph. Build minimum standards you commit to every day, no matter the mood, no matter the situation. A minimum standard could be one sentence spoken out loud, one new vocabulary word learned, one page read. These are small enough to do even on your worst day. Use habit stacking. Attach a small win to something you already do. After brushing your teeth, learn one phrase. After breakfast, listen for 1 minute. After sitting at your desk, write one sentence. Design your environment to make small wins automatic. Keep your notebook on your pillow, English app on your home screen, headphones ready on your desk. Remove friction so action becomes the easiest choice. And celebrate small wins. Tell yourself, I did it. Each time you complete a small action, dopamine rises, motivation increases, and your brain craves more progress. Over time, small wins turn into big habits. Big habits turn into major improvements. And those improvements turn into the life you want. The truth is undeniable. Small wins are the quiet force that builds extraordinary success. If you master the small things, the big things will eventually follow. Lesson 7. Progress, not perfection. Perfection is one of the biggest traps that destroys dreams before they ever begin. People believe they need the perfect plan, the perfect moment, the perfect skill level, or the perfect version of themselves before they take action. But perfection is an illusion, an excuse disguised as high standards. And the pursuit of perfection often becomes the prison that keeps people from ever making progress. The truth is simple and liberating. Progress matters far more than perfection. Perfection asks, is it flawless? Progress asks, is it better than yesterday? Perfection focuses on mistakes. Progress focuses on movement. Perfection demands that you never fail. Progress understands that failure is the oldest teacher in the world. Look at any great achiever, and you'll see a pattern, not perfection, but persistence. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb on his first try. He failed more than 1,000 times. When asked about those failures, he said he didn't fail. He discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work. That is progress. Michael Jordan, considered the greatest basketball player of all time, said openly, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've failed over and over and over again. And that is why I succeed." He never sought perfection. He sought improvement. Yet countless people still let perfectionism freeze them. They refuse to speak English because they might make a mistake. They refuse to start a YouTube channel because the first videos won't be perfect. They refuse to learn a new skill because they fear looking inexperienced. This fear kills growth. Perfectionism is just fear wearing a mask. It paralyzes you with impossible expectations and convinces you that trying imperfectly is worse than not trying at all. But the reality is that imperfection is the only path to mastery. Every expert was once a beginner. Every fluent speaker once struggled with basic words. Every professional once produced work they're embarrassed to remember. What separates the successful from the stuck is not flawless execution. It's the willingness to improve step by step. So how do you break free from perfectionism and embrace progress? First, set imperfect action goals. Instead of aiming to speak English perfectly, aim to speak for 5 minutes a day regardless of mistakes. Instead of trying to create a perfect plan, create a simple one-page outline and begin. Second, embrace the 80% rule. If something is 80% good, finish it and move on. Perfectionism wastes time polishing the unimportant. Progress builds momentum. Third, document your improvement. Take notes. Record your voice. Track your habits. When you see progress visually, perfection loses its power. Fourth, redefine failure. Mistakes aren't proofs that you're not good enough. They're evidence that you're learning. The only real failure is refusing to begin. Fifth, surround yourself with people who value growth, not image. Perfectionists drain you. Progress-driven people inspire you. Ultimately, progress creates confidence, and confidence creates mastery. Perfection creates anxiety, and anxiety creates inaction. The truth is permanent. You don't need to be perfect. You need to keep moving. Because the person who improves a little every day will always outperform the person who waits for perfection and never starts at all. Lesson 8. Keep moving. Life will never be a straight, smooth road. It will challenge you, frustrate you, break your plans, test your patience, and shake your confidence. And when you try to grow, whether it's learning English, building a new habit, or changing your life, you will face moments where you feel stuck, tired, lost, or overwhelmed. These moments are not signs that you should stop. They are signs that you are moving in the right direction. The truth is simple. The only way to win is to keep moving. Not perfectly, not quickly, just consistently. Progress is not always loud. Sometimes it looks like small steps. Sometimes it looks like showing up even when you don't feel like it. Sometimes it looks like barely moving at all. But movement is movement. And movement is power. Look at any successful person's story and you will see one thing. They kept going when everyone else quit. J. K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. But she kept writing. Jack Ma was rejected by Harvard 10 times and by dozens of companies, including KFC. But he kept applying. Walt Disney was fired for lack of creativity, but he kept creating. These people were not stronger, smarter, or luckier. They simply refused to stop. And that persistence reshaped their destiny. On the other hand, millions of people quit at the first sign of difficulty. They start learning English, but when they forget words or can't understand someone speaking fast, they stop. They begin a fitness routine, but when they miss a day or feel tired, they quit. They start a side project, but when progress is slow, they give up. They confuse temporary discomfort with permanent failure. But discomfort is not a stop sign. It is a growth signal. Your brain grows through challenge, not comfort. The muscles you train only become stronger when they push through resistance. Your skills only improve when you stretch beyond your limits. Stopping when things get hard is the reason most dreams die. So how do you keep moving even when life feels heavy? First, lower the pressure. Movement doesn't need to be huge. If you can't study for an hour, study for 5 minutes. If you can't work out for 30 minutes, walk for 3. If you can't write a full page, write 1 sentence. consistency beats intensity. Second, detach from perfection. Some days you will be tired, emotional, distracted, or busy. That's normal. What matters is that you show up anyway, even in a small way. Third, remember that emotions are temporary. Feeling unmotivated is not a reason to stop. Motivation is unreliable. Systems are what carry you forward. Fourth, use momentum. When you move even a little, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of progress, making it easier to keep going. Fifth, track your forward motion. When you see your streak, your notes, your recordings, your workouts, your progress becomes real, and your identity shifts from someone who tries to someone who grows. Finally, forgive yourself quickly. Missed a day? Start again. Made a mistake? Learn and continue. Lost momentum? Take one step, just one, and the path reopens. Life will test you, but movement is your answer. As long as you keep moving, even slowly, you are not failing, you are becoming. And the people who keep going are the ones who change their lives, while those who stop stay exactly where they are. The message is clear. Don't stop. Keep moving. Your future depends on it. Lesson 9. Discipline is freedom. People often misunderstand discipline. They think it is a restriction, a punishment, a set of rules that take away freedom. They believe discipline means waking up early, forcing yourself to work, and giving up comfort. But the truth is the opposite. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. Discipline creates freedom. Without discipline, your life is controlled by impulses, distractions, and emotions. You become a prisoner of procrastination, a slave to your mood, and a victim of every temptation that pulls your attention away. But with discipline, you gain control of your time, your choices, your habits, and ultimately, your future. Consider the people who have created extraordinary lives. They were not necessarily smarter or more talented. They were disciplined. Kobe Bryant wasn't the best because he had natural talent. He was the best because he trained at 4 a.m. while others were sleeping. His discipline gave him the freedom to perform at a level no one else could reach. Jocko Willink, a former Navy SEAL, famously says, "Discipline equals freedom," because he learned that strict routines and consistent habits create the space for success, clarity, confidence, and peace. Without discipline, your life becomes chaotic. You constantly feel rushed. You never have enough time. You keep postponing your dreams. You live in a cycle of guilt and frustration. But with discipline, life becomes simpler. You work when you choose, not when you feel pressured. You build habits that remove stress. You create time instead of losing it. People who lack discipline think they are choosing freedom, but what they are really choosing is discomfort disguised as comfort. Sleeping in feels good now but becomes regret later. Skipping study feels easy today but becomes insecurity tomorrow. Avoiding difficult tasks feels comfortable, but creates a future full of limitations. On the other hand, doing the hard things now gives you the freedom to enjoy the results later. Freedom to speak confidently. Freedom to take opportunities. Freedom to live without fear. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. So how do you build it? First, start small. Discipline is not a personality trait. It's a muscle. Train it with tiny commitments: 5 minutes of English, 10 minutes of reading, one small workout. Once small promises are consistent, bigger ones become natural. Second, remove friction. Discipline thrives in an environment designed for success. Leave your book on your pillow. Keep your phone away while working. Prepare your tasks the night before. Make the right action easy and the wrong action hard. Third, use identity-based discipline. Don't say, "I'm trying to be disciplined." Say, "I am the kind of person who stays consistent." Acting like the person you want to become makes discipline flow naturally. Fourth, detach discipline from motivation. You don't need to feel inspired. You just need to follow the plan. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. Fifth, reward consistency. Celebrate the days you show up. Each tiny victory strengthens the belief that you can rely on yourself. Lastly, remember why discipline matters. It is not about suffering. It is about choosing the discomfort of growth over the pain of regret. Because regret lasts forever. The truth is undeniable. Undisciplined people live trapped by their impulses, while disciplined people live free. Freedom is not the absence of rules. It is the presence of self-control. And if you want a future you are proud of, discipline is the price and the reward. Lesson 10. Your environment shapes you. Most people believe their success depends on willpower, talent, or motivation. But the deeper truth is this: your environment shapes your behavior far more than your intentions do. You become like the people you spend time with. You adopt the habits of the spaces you live in. You think the thoughts of the information you consume daily. Your environment is not just where you are, it is who you become. And this is why so many people stay stuck. They are trying to grow inside an environment that keeps them small. If you surround yourself with people who procrastinate, complain, fear change, or settle for mediocrity, their mindset will quietly become your own. Not because you want it, but because humans are wired to mirror the behavior of their tribe. This is why entrepreneurs say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Growth requires placing yourself in spaces that challenge you, not comfort you. Look at the world's most successful people. Athletes, creators, leaders. They all intentionally build environments that elevate them. Serena Williams trained with stronger, faster opponents to become exceptional. Elon Musk surrounds himself with engineers and thinkers who push the boundaries of technology. Warren Buffett lives in an environment designed for focus. No clutter, no noise, no unnecessary distractions. These people don't rely on willpower. They design their surroundings to make success the default. On the other hand, think of someone who wants to learn English but spends time around people who mock their pronunciation or tell them it's impossible. Think of someone who wants to start a business but only talks to people who fear risk. Think of someone who wants to change their life but spends every day scrolling next to friends who never try to grow. Their environment becomes a cage. Not a physical one, but a psychological one. When you live inside a cage long enough, you begin to believe you were meant to stay there. The good news is that you can change your environment, And when you do, everything else becomes easier. The first step is simple. Audit your circle. Ask yourself, do the people I talk to daily make me better or weaker? If someone drains your energy, fills you with doubt, or holds you back, limit their influence. You don't need to cut people off. You simply need to reduce the weight they have in your life. Next, intentionally seek people who inspire you, challenge you, and expect more from you. People who speak English with you. People who learn. People who dream. People who take action. Even if you cannot find them in real life, you can create a digital environment, podcasts, YouTube channels, books, communities, where growth is the norm. Third, design your physical environment to support your goals. Keep your study space clean. Remove distractions. Place your books where you can see them. Keep your phone away while working. A powerful environment makes good habits effortless and bad habits inconvenient. Finally, control your informational environment. What you consume becomes what you think. Replace negative, shallow content with material that sharpens your mind and expands your ambition. The truth is clear. Your environment is the invisible force directing your life. You don't rise to the level of your intentions. You rise to the level of the environment you build. Change your surroundings, and you will change your future. Lesson 11. Don't fear mistakes. Mistakes are the most misunderstood part of growth. Most people fear them, hide from them, feel ashamed of them, and use them as proof that they are not good enough. But the truth is the opposite. Mistakes are not signs of failure. They are the engine of learning. Every skill